So several years ago now, we do something that we do every year, which we gather a few days before Christmas on our sidewalk right in front of our house here in Midtown Manhattan to sing Christmas carols, just to fill the neighborhood with joy. And so there we were this night, a bunch of sisters, Christmas lights, cookies, hot chocolate, and a woman walking by just stopped to take it in. And I introduced myself. I said, hello, join us. And I asked her name, and she said, Casey. And so we started chatting, and it was a very nostalgic experience for her, hearing all these Christmas carols, and she started saying that her life had changed so much since she had been singing any of those songs. She was now working as a dancer down the street, and had seen so much suffering in her life, friends that had died from addiction and a lot of suffering. And yet there was this open quality to her heart. She was searching for something more, that her life actually was meant for something more. And in a moment, all of a sudden, I was struck with the treasure of her soul. And I told her right then. And she stopped and she looked at me and I said, you can talk to Blessed Mother the same way you're talking to me. She's our mother and she wants to take care of you. And you have a beautiful heart. She loves you. She misses hearing from you, because this woman, she had grown up Catholic. And I said, do you remember how to pray the Hail Mary? And so we rehearsed it together, we said it together, and sure enough, it came back to her. And I started to tell her about the Rosary, the power of the Rosary, that this is a beautiful way of talking to Blessed Mother as you pray on these beads to share what's going on in your heart, the sufferings that you've experienced, and those of your friends. And then she looked at me quite matter-of-factly and said, well, can I have a Rosary? Do you have a Rosary? And I was happy with the thought that she wanted it. I reached into my pocket, and then all of a sudden my heart sank, because in my pocket was only one Rosary. It was the Rosary my father had given me. That was very special to him. He had just given it to me a few weeks before that, and I loved it. And yet I knew it was intended for her. So I put it in the palm of her hand. I said, this is my dad's Rosary, but it's now yours. It's supposed to be for you. And she hesitated a little bit, and she took it, and then we walked over to the creche scene that we had set up outside our house. And she immediately looked at the creche scene and said, well, where's the baby Jesus? He's not here. And I said, yes, he'll come. On Christmas he'll arrive. And then there was a pause, and all of a sudden I said, it's just like our hearts. It feels kind of empty without Jesus. And I said, Jesus wants Christmas to happen in your heart. He wants to come into your heart. All we have to do is ask Jesus to come. And so I left her there to pray for a few minutes, and she slipped away on her way. And about 2 weeks later, she rang the doorbell at this house, and I wasn't there at the moment, but the sister answering the door said she came, and she said, I was here a few weeks ago when the sisters were singing that night, and one of the sisters gave me a Rosary. And she said, can you tell that sister that night I quit my job at the strip club and I gave my life to the baby Jesus? It's powerful, but about 4 years later, I didn't hear anything again, and 4 years later, I was walking through the streets of Manhattan with a bunch of sisters near one of the parks in the area, and all of a sudden, this woman very excitedly came up to us. She recognized the sisters, and she said, oh, I have this prayer intention. Can you please pray for me? I'm having this heart procedure done tomorrow. And as she's talking, I'm looking at her, and all of a sudden, I'm pushing by the sisters in front of me, and I walk up to her, and I put my hand on her shoulder, and I say, I know you. And she looks at me and she says, you were the sister who gave me the Rosary. She said, I still have it, and I pray it every day. And I know that God loves me.